woken up in the morning under your covers and the alarm is blaring at you. Beep, beep, beep. You just don't want to wake up. For some of you, this may be this morning. I mean, for me it was. I had to wake up extra early today for my mom. She had to go somewhere. Or have you ever tried to feign illness and not have to go to school to do a project or a test or whatever it may be? I know it happens to more of us than we might think. I mean, it's happened to me. I bet it's happened to you before. I've tried. Sometimes I've succeeded, sometimes I've failed. But the important thing to remember is that we have education and it's something that we take for granted. Just this Friday, when it rained, we were all given the chance to go home. I don't know how many of you guys took it, but I'm sure a good number of you did. We don't realize that here in America, here at Valley Christian, we have so much. Education becomes a problem for us when we don't want to turn in a project or we don't want to study for a test. I'm here to tell you that in India there are children who would fight to have our problems. I'd like to share with you a quote. It's by a woman called Maria Montessori, and she says that children are human beings to whom respect is due, superior to us by the reason of their innocence and of the greater possibilities of their future. Children are like plants. They have so much potential. They can become trees, but in places where they don't have what they need to grow and succeed in life, they'll wither away, and they'll be trapped in the same cycle of poverty that their parents were chained to. There's a program in India called Ashwini Charitable Trust. From now on, I'll call it ACT. Though the children of ACT are a world away from us, quite literally, they deserve our help, and we should give it to them, and it's easier than you might think. Let me start by telling you the problem. In India, an overwhelming number of children do not go to school. Now, schooling is free, but uniforms are not. And the reason kids don't go to school, mainly two reasons: monetary issues and family issues. Monetary issues are easiest to explain. When you don't have enough money to feed your family, you don't have enough money to pay for a uniform for your kid to go to school. The more complex one is family issues. This arises when the family doesn't understand the importance of education, and once the child reaches a certain age, usually 13, 12 even, the children are forced to work. If they're girls, they're usually maids. If they're boys, they'll become day laborers. To the parents, this is their mindset. Why send a child to school to waste time when they can be bringing stuff into the family and helping support the family? Now I'd like to tell you a story about a girl named Lakshmi. So this summer, I was in India. I came back there. I actually used to live in Bangalore, India. And this summer I was there to help out, and as I was eating breakfast one morning, I was reading the paper, and the Times of India had this article. There was a girl named Lakshmi, 15 years old, my age. And I don't know how many of you are 15 here, but maybe you can relate. We're all around that age. Let me tell you her story. At the age of 12, Lakshmi was forced to work for a middle-class family in India. She worked as a maid, she cleaned, she cooked, she took care of their children, and they abused her. They abused her physically, mentally, verbally, and one day it was too much for Lakshmi. So she climbed on top of the building that they lived on. She jumped off. She didn't die at first. She broke her pelvis and her femur, and she was in a coma for several days, but eventually she did die, no matter what the doctors could do for her. This is a very sad story. I don't have to tell you that. But what's even sadder is that Lakshmi isn't an outlier. This happens all too often. And the reason for this is that she wasn't given a chance at a future. At the age of 12, her destiny was set. Now I'd like to tell you about the solution. Ashwini Charitable Trust is an organization founded by one woman. Her name is Sujata. She's an ordinary woman. She was a housewife, but she had a big dream. And her dream was to educate and empower the children from the slums of Bangalore so that they can have a chance at life. What they do is they sponsor children. Right now they have around 170 children at their program. And what they do is they sponsor education, they give them vaccines, they give them counseling, they give them a hot meal every day. And the thing about this organization that makes it different is that these kids are being employed and they're buying houses for their parents. Now let me tell you the story of a different Lakshmi, same name. But what I want you to remember is they have the same name, completely different outcomes. And if Ashwini Charitable Trust didn't step in with this Lakshmi's situation, she could have ended up the same way. Let me tell you about the success story of Lakshmi. This Lakshmi was helped by ACT since she was a 3rd grader. Now she works for a corporate company, and she is making money. And you know what? Just this summer, she's buying a house for her parents, and they're moving out of the slums she grew up in. They're moving out of the slums that her children probably would have grown up in because of what Ashwini Charitable Trust did for her. You might be thinking, what can I do to help? They're a world away. They're in India, 20-hour plane ride away. But you know what? You can either give donations or you can join a club at Valley called Race to Educate. Donations. First, let me tell you about that. It's only $60 for a year of primary school. It's only $100 for a year of high school, and it's around $150 for a year of college. To some of us, all these things combined might not even be enough for a trip to Forever 21. I know for me sometimes, when I get hyped up about Black Friday, I might splurge. It's important to realize that what you might spend on a shopping trip can save someone's life, literally. At Race to Educate, our club, you can join. It's located right in room 110G in the Isaac's room. And what we do, our goal is to raise money for this club. Mustache Madness. This looks a little bit scary, do not be alarmed. This is one of our campaigns in my club. Basically, the idea is we get 10 teachers in Valley to grow out their facial hair, and for every month, or for every week that they have their facial hair on, children, or kids here are supposed to pledge money. So, 2 pluses. You get to see our teachers grow mustaches, and you pay for it and help children in India. Mr. Candace Tracy even volunteered to do so. So if you want to see Mr. Candace Tracy with a beard, pay. First, okay, let me just tell you one more. So, I know by now you guys all must have heard things about charities all over the place. And it's true. The world needs help. There are children in India, there are children in Africa, there are children everywhere who need our help. But since I know these children personally, I really want you to try and understand how amazing they are. When I went to India this summer, what I did was I directed a play, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we sold tickets, and we got to raise like $2,000, something like that, or I think it was $8,000 actually. But let me tell you about what I learned from these children. One day after rehearsal, well, when in America, my mom and I bought this giant bag of Everlasting Gobstoppers. We gave them to the kids one day after rehearsal, and they were amazed by it. Number one thing that they were amazed about was that it changed color. So these 2 kids, this is Jyoti and this is Nanda, I was filming them as they were eating their Gobstoppers, and I was like, oh, how is it? Do you like it? And they were amazed. They just loved it. And as I was filming them, all of a sudden I saw a worried expression come across their faces. They said to me, Akka. Akka means older sister. They said, Akka, why aren't you eating? And I was like, I don't need a Gobstopper. Are you kidding me? I didn't say that. But I wasn't about to take one of their candies from them, but they were begging me to. I wasn't going to take it. I was filming them. Before I knew it, this one here snuck up beside me and popped the Gobstopper into my mouth before I could protest. This is what I mean. This is just grace, you know? And they have so little, and yet they're willing to give me one of their cherished candies. It's something I've never come across before, and it really touched my heart. So now to my last point. 80 years from now, when you're dying or whatever, do you want to be remembered for having a big house, having an awesome family, or having a jet ski? I mean, I'm all for that. Jet skis are awesome. But would you rather on your deathbed think about all the things you bought or think about all the people you helped? Would you rather have all this stuff, a big house, a jet ski, or would you rather die with the thought that you saved 1 child from the chains of poverty? 2 children, 100 children, it's possible. You can do it. Now I'd like to share with you a verse. 1 John 4:7 says, Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. What better way is there to love than to free a child from the slavery that is poverty? Thank you for listening.